Hi, welcome to another video. What is it with me and filming Beatles videos and getting stuck in traffic? I thought rather than go by train, because I want to go to London, I would take the car up and then be able to hit the locations. But look at this. How long am I going to be here? But I'm not going to do the video in the car. This will clear soon enough. We're going to London because I want to try and find as many locations for the movie A Hard Day's Night. This could be a good one, so stick with it. Well, I made it. Despite the traffic, I'm still in London. I made it to London, so that's great. So, whether I show that other previous intro to the video, I don't know. If I don't, hi, welcome to another video. If I do, then you already know what's in store, because I can't decide. The Beatles, A Hard Day's Night. I thought I would try and get as many of the filming locations in and around London that I can. I can't do Gatwick Airport. I know that at the end of the movie they're all running out to the helicopter and throwing leaflets and things or signed autographs, and the helicopter takes off. That was at Gatwick Airport, and who knows where in Gatwick Airport. 1964 versus 2024. We're talking 60 years. I don't think that even that area exists anymore. Maybe even some of the locations here in London will have changed. So it's really just a case of rocking up and seeing what's what. Now what I'm going to do is try and record the sections in the sequence that they display in the movie. So the intro to the movie starts here at Marylebone Station. Now, A Hard Day's Night depicts the story of the Beatles, kind of a day in the life, that they would know. They would write a song about that later on. So they leave Liverpool, we assume it's Liverpool, it's never stated, Lime Street Station. They record that footage at Paddington Station, and they do it on the inside, on the platforms. When Norm is trying to open with his teeth the milk carton that spills on him, and Ringo, George and John are seen hiding from the fans, aren't they? And they're jumping over pallets and being trundled along on the trolleys with the luggage. So that's all filmed inside Paddington Station, and I can't really go in unless I buy a ticket for a train somewhere that I'm not going to. The destination I'm not going to, and then just do some filming, surreptitious filming on a platform. I don't really like doing that kind of thing because you get told off, So that opening scene, they're in Paddington Station, all the shenanigans are going on, but they do the intro to the movie playing the song A Hard Day's Night, and there's some running where the lads fall over, which is in Boston Place, just around the corner. I'll take you there in a minute. And then they do some hiding on the telephones, which is inside, and they do some running in here. So what I'm going to do is find what I think to be the exact location and overlay the actual black and white footage. Kind of will work, won't it? So yeah, this is my video on locations for A Hard Day's Night, mostly in London. There is one location down southwest, when they're on the train, the old boys going, turn that music off, reaching over. And so they leave the carriage, don't they? And then you see them outside the train. And he's seeing them on the outside. That was filmed down in Somerset somewhere. And I'm not going all the way down there, just for one tiny little snippet. But it happened. So yeah, let's go and walk in and around Marylebone Station, and we'll just find out if I can find some of the... I think there are at least 3 locations that we can look at. Here we go. This is Boston Place, and this is where the movie starts. Now I'm a little dubious here because it obviously looks correct with the downpipes and the brown brick wall, but what in the clip in the movie, there's a white building that props out, that they're running down the road and they fall over. It's got to be around here somewhere because of the downpipes. However, what makes me think is, I wonder if it was filmed from the other side of the road. No, it can't have been because there's no pavement. Oh, there's a pavement here. See the, okay, I had it in my mind that because there isn't a white building coming out across the road from the left to the right, and that's what you see in the scene. They're running down the road and there's this white building. It made me think, is that it there? So looking down Boston Place, there's a building jutting out. I'm a stickler for this kind of stuff. I want to make sure that I get it just right. But the thing that's failing it for me, even though there are some bollards here, there aren't many downpipes. There's a few down there. But we are talking 60 years ago, 1964 they filmed this. When I'm 64, do, do. So it's got to be here, Boston Place. Somebody identified it online. They said, oh, so-and-so has identified that location as Boston Place. I'm not going to reenact it, that would be silly. But trees, things, I think we can have a go here, can't we? Let's just overlay the footage. It might actually have been further up the road, up that way. But nonetheless, it was Boston Place. Opening scene. It's been a hard day's night. Credits, all the scene within Paddington Station. And then they run into the front of Marylebone Station, which is pretending to be, what was I saying? Pretending to be Lime Street. There's a scene where the lads are, they've run down Boston Place, and then you see them running into the station. Can I superimpose the shot? And there's a reason they were running in this general direction. There's a lot of queuing going on here, taxis trying to move out. These were the original entrances to the station, so they would have been running into Marks and Spencer's food hall. And I'm going to run into the Marks and Spencer's food hall because just on the right, on the wall here, is the scene where the telephone box was situated and they were all hiding in there. So this represented Liverpool, Lime Street, where they've run into the station. There's the whole 20 minutes of footage inside the train. A song or two, girls, the old boy. That being said, there is a scene where they're all piled into the car and they're being taken to the press conference or the studio. And what we get is a scene of them driving outside Marylebone Station through this arch, and then I'm going to walk it but overlay the footage. It comes down this road and then disappears down that way with all the fans chasing them or running after them, obviously screaming. The extras. Imagine that if you were paid to be a Beatles extra in a movie, but you were a big fan anyway. You'd be paying them. Can I be in your movie, please? I might get a chance to see John, Paul, George and Ringo. Okay, let's go and find another location. This is, oh look, we got the BT Tower there. I didn't realise how close I was to that. Tottenham Street. Tottenham Street is where Scala Theatre used to exist. Now a lot of scenes were filmed here because of the Scala Theatre was where the performance was going to happen, and also the press conference. So we have the scene where the lads arrive, first time. Wilfrid Bramble gets a lot of screen time because he tries to sell the autographs, he tries to break in, and he gets chased by the police. And also we have Charlotte Muse, which of course the Beatles come running through the bottom here into the theatre. But just opposite Charlotte Muse, as you come out from that direction, the entrance to the theatre was there. So the limo comes along, they get out of the limo and go into the theatre through the telephone exchange tent thing. Obviously I can't film the theatre, but the beginning, when they go looking for Ringo, you've got all the pillars and things, and I can overlay that there. Wilfrid Bramble then has a scene where he's coming through Charlotte Mews here, and he spies the police, doesn't he? Just at the, oh no, what am I going to do? And then veers off to the right. But from this angle, coming out of Charlotte Mews here, we see him crossing the road, trying to sell the autographs, trying to break in with the young lads, where he says, "Can you fix him for me?" in an Irish accent. I can't do an Irish accent unless I start rolling into to be sure. Can you fix him for me? See, told you I couldn't do it. That used to be a laundrette, and as the Beatles are being chased by the police and they come running through here, there's a woman in a window. Let me overlay the image. So yeah, that was Tottenham Street, Scala Theatre. The lads arrive for the press interview. They then also do their performance. Wilfrid Brambell as Grandad has a couple of scenes here, and then they come running through Charlotte Mews. It's been a hard day's drive. Let's find another location. Now, one location that is kind of insignificant because you don't see any exterior shots of it in the film, but you do see a lot of internal shots. And that's here on Hamilton Place. It's the Ambassadors Club. The lads are going to a nightclub and they're having some great dancing. And, you know, it kind of exhibits. It's funny because it's almost like the swinging 60s is just about to hit here. I always think of the swinging 60s as Carnaby Street, you know, and love, all you need is, that kind of thing. But it's already showing itself here in the early 60s, 64, and they're all, you know, doing their funny dancing. Now there's a scene in here, isn't there? And I think I've seen something on YouTube where someone tries to read Paul McCartney's lips because he's kind of going, I'll put the scene here. Read into that what you will, but you know, they're at the nightclub. That's filmed here. Then you get all the scenes of the gambling with Grandad. So Wilfrid Brambell's doing all of his shenanigans with the gambling. So that's filmed inside. Bingo. I think it's called, gosh, I forget what it's called now. Something room. I'll put it on the screen here. But their room in here was used for all of that filming. So yeah, it is a location. Let's go and find another one. That is the Hammersmith Apollo, now called the Eventime Apollo, because they always change ownership, hands. Hey, if you come here, you can watch Marty Pellow sing about feeling it in his fingers and his toes. Now there was one scene filmed at the back of the Hammersmith Apollo. So you remember that the lads are all inside, they've done their rehearsals, you get those lovely scenes with John interacting with the girl who says, "It's you, I know you." No, it's not. You know, like, I love that scene. You look like him. No, now that you mention it, you don't. Swine. But Norm says to them, "Come on, you lot, into the room. We don't want to lose you." And they take a quick, swift left, don't they, through a fire exit. And they disappear down a flight of stairs, which was filmed at the back of the Hammersmith Apollo. Now, as I mentioned, there was a scene where they fly off in the helicopter, don't they, at the end of the film. They come out of here at the staircase at the back of the Hammersmith Apollo. It looks something like this. Now, I obviously can't go in because it's, should I have contacted the Hammersmith Apollo? I'm doing a Beatles video, can I go and stand at the back? Anyway, they run down the fire escape and then emerge in a playing field. Initially, they are still filming at Gatwick because you've got the square landing pad where the helicopter would land. And when the scene ends, they're in the playing field. But the way cinematography works, it's set out to make it look like everything is behind the Hammersmith Apollo. I'm going to be sneaky and try and just pop this above the door and see if we can see anything in the back there. I don't think we can, but continuity works that they escape from Norm's clutches, they go through the fire escape, they come down the staircase, enter into a playing field, which is in Gatwick, and then at the end of the scene, and I will take you there, because it's on the agenda. You know, they're messing around in the field, and then they say to the guy, sorry we hurt your field, mister, or George does. Lancaster Place, or is it Lancaster Square? Lancaster something or other, it'll be on the screen. Ringo's doing his walkabout. He's got his camera. He's here. He's walking down taking photographs of random things. Milk bottles comes to mind. I'll put a little bit of black and white for you. And that's where the girls find him, they spy him, they start chasing him down that direction. So the girls have spotted him and they chase him down here, but they kind of give up just as they're by where that red car is. He runs down here into a bric-a-brac shop, which is this now Pievre curtains and blinds. Isn't that amazing? Now it looks very posh around here now, look at this. But when they filmed it 60 years ago, it looked like a dive. So let me put some black and white footage here of Ringo going in and then coming out. Now during Ringo's escapades, when he's out and about without the lads, there's always the presence of a policeman. There always seems to be, whether he's on a bike or he's just patrolling his beat, doing whatever he's doing, there's always a policeman. So Ringo comes out, he's got his overcoat and he's got his hat on, and then he kind of turns right here and he sees a girl, doesn't he? And he wants to test out the theory that he's now completely inconspicuous. And he kind of goes up to the girl and goes, hello there. And she goes, get lost, shorty. He has this kind of wry smile that, I've succeeded. Nobody knows who I am. And he walks on, but the policeman has seen him kind of, what would you think, like trying to chat up the girl, accost the girl. So that's the first instance that the policeman is kind of keeping an eye on Ringo. So while the Beatles are being chased by the police and they're running up and down, all that kind of thing, there's a scene where there's a car thief. He's trying to break into a car and Ringo's being chased by the police. He sees them and he drops to the ground. And then the next scene, they come in the opposite direction, he drops to the ground. Finally, they're all chasing him. I think it was John Blunthal, the actor, kind of a character actor, South African or Australian, I seem to recall. Behind me is St. Luke's Court, and that used to be a church, St. Luke's Church. Now, even in the scene, which if I step out of the way for a minute and overlay it with black and white, so many people crisscrossing. It's a bit like in the Hard Day's Night movie. I think in the final scene, he finally gets into the car and the policeman runs up, says, follow them, jumps in the car. He's a car thief. There used to be a church here, and in the movie, it's already being demolished. You can see the smoke and you can see the kind of like the structure, kind of half erected. They pulled it down. Why did they pull old buildings down? It could well be that it was already ready for demolishment, to be demolished.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Making way for the public, because the public have a right of way. So, yeah, that was where St. Luke's Church was, and the car thief was trying to steal the car. Let's go and find another location. I say let's go and find another location. I want to clarify why I was a little bit kind of ippy and nippy and what am I saying? What am I talking about? Hundreds of people walking backwards and forwards. And then I was doing that last piece to camera. There's a woman looking at me from a window. You might see me wave at her. She was like, give me quizzical looks. What are you doing? What are you doing? It puts you off. You're trying to do a vlog, you know? Trying to be semi-professional. And then all the people are looking at you. That's the way it goes. Now, I will go and find another location. Behind me is Kew Bridge. And this is the Putney towpath, which you will recognise the slope as it goes into the Thames, and there's a little island on the other side there. Now, since 1964, we've got these concrete bollards. The trees have all grown up. What I'll do is walk along here, see if I can find... There are two locations. It's kind of like the sad part of the movie, you know, where Ringo's all by himself and he's out with his camera and it plops in the water, and then the little lad turns up with the rubber tyre, doesn't he? So let me see if I can find those two locations here. Okay, it's a little hard to discern the actual location. I do know that there's a scene and we see the bridge in the background, but the slopes look slightly different, so I wonder, have they rebuilt the slopes in 60 years, especially with this concrete bollard. But it's the bit of land on the other side that gives it away for me. So somewhere along this little stretch are the scenes where Ringo's playing with his camera. The tide is out. The flow of the river is out. I never know. Does river have a tide? That's not one of my intelligent things. However, there is a scene, and I think this is it. So I'll get it right in a minute, and I'll overlay the black and white footage. But you see the tyre spinning, Ringo falls over it, the young lad comes up, there's all that engagement with the little boy, and then we have the policeman. Now, is this the this is probably the third encounter that he's had with the policeman, where he's throwing a rock in the water, isn't he? And the policeman comes by on his bike. You should know better than to throw things into the water. So I think the only sensible thing to do is to line up the shot and superimpose a couple of the scenes, maybe with the kid and the tyre, and then with the policeman coming along. I'm sure it's here. Everywhere I've looked online, it says, you know, when you're scouting for locations and you try and find information that other people have put together, and you think, oh, they've said it's the Putney towpath, so yeah, there you go. Can't look any similar to that, can it? How amazing is this? The Turk's Head. One could argue Ringo's local. So he's escaped the clutches of the two girls, and he's satisfied that his disguise is going to render him incognito, and he ends up in the Turk's Head. Tries to mingle with the general public, throws some darts, hits the parrot cage, or the perch that the parrot is sitting on, and basically is, right, you, op it. So he comes out, you've got some market traders going on here, and he comes out the door here, and I think he kicks something, is that right? And someone shouts, oi! And then the policeman. There's always a policeman in all of these scenes. So yeah, the Turk's Head. I'm pretty sure that they didn't do the filming inside the actual pub. That would have been a set, right? Twickenham Studios. God, it's really good being at all these little locations. Let's find another one. I'm now in Edghill Road, West 11. So we're moving further and further out of London. Let me just give you a quick view of this little area. Does it ring a bells? Does it look recognisable? It will as I walk past this little bush here on the right. We've got the garage on the right there. This scene is where Ringo decides to become, does his chivalrous thing. There's a building site going on. There's construction. I wonder if they were actually building this little housing estate in 1964. And it does make me kind of question when, scouting teams look for a location for filming and they come upon something that, we got this scene where we want Ringo to throw his jacket on the floor and the lady will walk over a puddle. Go out and find a work site somewhere. Or did they actually just set it all up? Because this road was just a mud track, wasn't it? And they had their kind of construction tents and things like that. Let me see if I can overlay some black and white footage using the corner of that garage as an anchor. Now, it was destined to happen, wasn't it? You can almost predict it. You've got puddle number one. She walks across, no problem. Puddle number 2, she walks across, no problem. Puddle number 3, down she goes. Who writes these scripts? So predictable. But that's where the policeman finally collars Ringo, doesn't he? Says, I want to say, you're nicked, but I've got you. Because he's been following him, and he's kind of aware that Ringo's been doing all sorts of bad things. Because the police have got nothing better to do than catch someone who's trying to be chivalrous, right? Ah, forget that. Me talking out of turn. So yeah, Edge Hill Road, West 11 in London. He then gets taken to the police station, doesn't he? Let's go there. That is number 83 Clarendon Road. Now, number 83 Clarendon Road stood in for the police station. Now, a lot of internal shots for the police station were filmed, I presume, at Twickenham. And why would it not be? You know, all internal shots filmed in a studio. But you had a lot of the external police station scenes filmed here. Now, what I do find odd is the fact that it's kind of so low down. It's all about cinematography, right? So you want to have the people, it looks like they're coming down many, many steps. So the only way I can do that is to place the camera on the road, I guess. And that gives it the aspect that I will relive it. 83 Clarendon Road. Derek Geiler as the desk sergeant, you know. Oh yes, Derek Geiler. Just another scene, 83 Clarendon Road. Let me overlay some black and white footage for you. So to conclude, because it's been a lot of fun, I've not done one of these walk around videos for quite some time. Most of my videos have all been indoors. If it's not Pride and Prejudice, then I've been talking, let's pull it down here, I've been talking about Beatles things and kind of links and all that. So it's nice to get out and actually do something. Thornbury Park playing fields. So while the lads had escaped Norm and gone down the fire escape and ended up in a playing field which was recorded in Gatwick, there were some scenes here, specifically the end scene with the kind of park warden, for want of a better word, standing somewhere like this going as they're walking along.
I suppose you realise this is private property.
Sorry we hurt your field, mister.
Now, if nothing else, if you're into aviation, this is on the direct flight path to Heathrow Airport, and so you can stand here and watch the aeroplanes go by. So that's it. Apart from Somerset, couldn't go that far down. I kind of covered most of the locations. A hard day's night. Some may be dubious, but I think on the whole they are the right locations. So that's been a good video. I've enjoyed that. I hope you have too. Drop me a comment, let's engage, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.
Sorry we hurt your field, mister.